باسم الجمعية العامة يشرفني أن
On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Sheikh Shariif Sheikh Ahmed, President of the Transitional Federal Government of the Somali Republic, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah.
In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, peace be upon all of you, Your Majesties, Excellencies, Heads of State, Mr. Secretary General of the United Nations, General Secretaries of international and regional organizations, permanent representatives, ladies and gentlemen. On this grand occasion of the meeting of the 65th session of the General Assembly of the United Nations, I would like to congratulate the new president of this session, Mr. Joseph Dace, who is known for his political skills and leadership. I would also like to extend my appreciation to Dr. Ali Treki, president of the previous session, for the able manner in which he led this our work, and I hope that this session would end successfully and will produce initiatives and resolutions that would serve humanity and the world at large. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the Secretary General for his genuine interest and commitment to dealing with the critical international issues facing the world and the Somali issues in particular. Mr. President, this annual gathering brings together world leaders and their representatives in order to highlight positive accomplishments worthy of emulation and praise, and to identify common global challenges and emerging problems in order to find appropriate solutions. This meeting comes at a critical time when our contemporary world faces a series of challenges ranging from the economic, social, and political, as well as natural disasters and bloody wars that threaten regional stability, and other international issues that require speedy solutions from the General Assembly in order to find the best ways to solve them and to avoid them in the future. In our world today, which is described as the world of technology and modern science, we confront many challenges resulting from climate change and the greenhouse effect, such as floods, drought, land erosion, and so on. Such problems have occurred recently in many countries, including the floods in Pakistan and China, as well as destructive forest fires in Russia and other problems worldwide. And we feel great pain towards such natural disasters that have affected these countries, and so we must cooperate with them and provide them with the assistance they need, and to express our grief and our condolences for their suffering. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, a few centuries ago, the peoples of the world suffered from the horror of slavery and injustice through colonialism and oppressive culture in which the strong preyed on the weak. It was through the collective will of nations around the world that this fine institution was established in order to ensure lasting peace and security. In 1945, and in order to guard human rights and sovereignty of nations and the rights of people to self-determination, as well as freedom of thought and expression. But we should now also question what is taking place in the world 65 years after the establishment of this organization. Is the world today living in peace and security? Has humanity attained its ambition of good life and sustainable prosperity? The answer clearly is no, because we witness today destructive wars throughout the world, and millions are suffering from that, as well as the horrors of international terrorism in many countries, especially in the third world. Mr. President, Somalia is the weaker link in this setup, and so it suffers from international terrorism in the form of Al-Shabaab, as well as foreign elements supporting Al-Shabaab, which receives support from Al-Qaeda, a movement that boasts that it is responsible of all the horrible acts that occurred in Mogadishu on December 3rd, 2009, in the graduation ceremony in Benadir University, where tens of newly graduated doctors died at a time when the country needed them the most, as well as professors, family and friends and guests at that ceremony. Another horrible explosion was the Muna Hotel and the African Union in Mogadishu, as well as the explosion in Uganda, which killed over 70 innocent people who had come to watch the World Cup match that was then taking place in South Africa. Those horrible massacres carried out by Al-Shabaab terrorists turns the stomach of any person with conscience, because this movement, and on a daily basis, in front of everybody, in public places, has been carrying out these acts in Mogadishu and other Somali cities, killing Somali civilians, cutting their throats and cutting off their limbs and ears. They have also carried out horrible crimes against humanity, such as cutting off the head of the victim and throwing that head somewhere else. There have also been rapes and thefts. This movement does not believe in Somalia as a nation and a country, and does not support the creation of the government of Somalia, but rather wants to turn the Horn of Africa into a terrorist hub, which is managed by their Al-Qaeda handlers, and want to wreak havoc in the entire region and to threaten maritime and international trade, and thereon to the entire world. In addition to terrorism on land, there is another type of terrorism at sea, carried out by pirates and extremist movements throughout the world. Maritime terrorism is no less dangerous than land-based terrorism. Most member states in the United Nations have suffered having their ships hijacked by pirates and having to pay a ransom for that. Pirates attack merchant ships and passenger ships and then demand ransom. And while military convoys are trying to protect these areas, these acts still continue, and there is a connection between those pirates and Al-Qaeda. Any delay, at any time, there could be an explosion and the destruction of those ships instead of demanding a ransom. All of this requires a solution for the problem in Somalia, because